Alright, this is a review for Captain America Castaway in Dimension Z, Book 1, which is written by Rick Remender with art by John Romita Jr. Uh, may not really have too much to say about this one. This is a pretty good book for what it is. Um, I'm a big Rick Remender fan, and critique wise, this book is good. It's not great, it's just good for what it is. Um, I'm a big fan of his, but again, I really don't have much to say about this one just based on how little I feel that there is in this. I mean, there's a lot of strides, at least character and event wise, in this, but this does not have the usual flair of attention grabbing events that Rick Remender is known for in a lot of his stories, which is not necessarily the biggest drawback, but it's kind of a drawback if you are a Rick Remender fan. Um, I'm kind of on the fence about John Romita Jr.'s work. I like his stuff in Kick Ass. Yeah, his stuff with World War Hulk was okay. Here I kind of got used to his pencil styles, but I really love whoever has done the inks and the coloring on this. Uh, the detail in this sort of pseudo cartoon style that Romita is known for is very well done, and I absolutely love it. Story wise on this, this is where it's going to get kind of funny. A lot of people who started out reading the first issues of this when it came out from Marvel now are really disappointed by the fact that this is a story which is taking place over the course of several years. Let me get to the bottom of this. Basically, what happens in this book is that Cap is actually planning on proposing to Sharon Carter. He's looking to kind of pursue a relationship with someone. He's gotten serious with her. There's some stuff that happens that causes him to go down a tunnel at a subway station. A train has crashed, and he winds up stepping through a portal into Dimension Z, which is a alternate universe which is completely ruled over by Arnim Zola. And that's pretty much how he arrives here. Now, what's interesting about this, besides a lot of the stuff with Cap taking out a villain who calls himself the Green Skull, and is kind of like this metahuman eco terrorist. When we get into Cap running in the wastelands of Dimension Z, it also flashes back to his childhood and looking at a lot of the actions that he took as a child, which would later on reflect the man that he becomes. Well, that concluded lamely. And this is good for a lot of character examination. Basically, we find out in the past that at some points, each issue will kind of examine a circumstance in Cap's life as a child when he's still living with his mother. Basic point is that he's living during the Depression era. I think this is just before World War II started, or this might be a little bit after World War One and into the stock market crash. Steve is a child, and his family are Irish immigrants, and his dad is a drunk and a wife beater and just a all-out bastard. Everything that Steve doesn't want to be is in his dad, but in a way and in the time that he lives in, there are situations that he finds himself doing things that Steve would be very ashamed of when he's an adult. And he's kind of got his mother there giving him life lessons. You know, I know you didn't like your father, and you may not realize it, but a lot of the things that you're doing are basically you being like him. And this kind of causes him to take in a lot of the virtues that I guess were enhanced by the super soldier serum, just physically. And, you know, this kind of shaped the person that he became once he becomes Captain America. I think, which is a fantastic characterization on Cap that Remender does. Something that we really didn't get much of during the Brubacher run. We got some. I think there were some flashbacks, at least in the midway point, circa in between 2006 and 2010, that we had some flashbacks to Cap's childhood. But Remender does a really good job about fleshing out Steve Rogers as a child in this, and that's what I love. Now, while we get these flashbacks in the past, we kind of circumvent onto his present situation, which is that he's been captured and is a test subject of Arnim Zola. He gets injected with some kind of an experimental formula, and when he finally manages to break away, he also rescues a young boy who he comes to call Ian from Arnim Zola, and he goes and runs off and lives with these strange xenomorph-like creatures. Basically, this wasteland has been kind of turned into a very heavy-handed sci-fi version of the Old West, and these xenomorph creatures, some of whom work for Arnim Zola, and then there's other ones that have declared themselves free, and they are kind of like Apache or Plains Indians type of people, which is a very interesting take on this. And we get to explore a side of Cap that has not really been explored before, which is him becoming sort of a pseudo father figure to this young boy who he's rescued. And I really enjoy this. But everything else that's just, kind of taking and returning Captain America back to sort of a sci-fi type story that was kind of running rampant in the 60s and the 70s, a little bit even with Arnim Zola, is pretty well done here. Not anything great, but it's still pretty good. The only thing that I'm really shocked at least biggest by this book, is how not so dark this book is. It's not to say that this book doesn't have its dark moments, but it's very toned down in the violence, which for a Remender story I'm surprised at. There's not really a whole lot that I have to add to it. There's some more that I could talk about, but that kind of just spoil the course of the story. In a nutshell, this is a pretty good Captain America story as told by Remender thus far. The only thing is, it's not going to be a great story. We just have to wait and see how the second arc of Castaway in Dimension Z holds up when the second story is published. But as far as it goes with this is a pretty good story. It's good for what it is. So yeah, I definitely recommend this. If you're a Remender fan, this might be a little bit surprising at how unviolent it is, but it's still a good read nevertheless, and you have some pretty damn good artwork to enjoy along with this. So yeah, I say pick this up.